if I know that I can make $100 or $200 per hour, then there's no reason that I should be doing this task where I can hire somebody at $15 an hour to do it, right?
Wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, what's blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Hey, it's Jullien Gordon here with another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. Doesn't matter how many college degrees you have, the only degree that really matters is your degree of freedom. Doesn't matter how much money you make, the only thing that really matters is how you make money. So today we've got a great question from Trinity, and Trinity is asking who and how to build a team for her business. So I'm going to say, who do I need to build a successful business? So this is what we want to address today. So Trinity, in your question, you already addressed some of the key players in running a successful business that you need to have on deck. My first hire was actually a VA. So to get a lot of the minutia off your plate, because initially you're starting out and you're jack of all trades and you're trying to do absolutely everything, right? You're trying to save and not have money go out the door, and so we don't hire. So here's how you know you should hire: when you know that you can actually, when you start to get clear on your value per hour, right? When you start charging this much per hour, you know that you can make this a certain amount per hour. Then you say, look, if I know that I can make $100 or $200 per hour, then there's no reason that I should be doing this task where I can hire somebody at $15 an hour to do it, right? So you pricing your time and getting clear on the value of your time is what actually frees you to start hiring other people. For instance, even though occasionally I'll go out and do the gardening in my backyard just because I want to have my hands in the dirt and I want to feel Mother Earth, right? But in most cases, because I know that I can go command this by coaching somebody for an hour, it would make more sense for me to do that and pay a gardener to knock that out for me, a fraction of what I'm able to earn for an hour. And then on top of that, I have the abundance, rather than me allocating my Saturday mornings and taking away time from family to go do that thing, when I could have just earned that and paid somebody else to do it and still had leftovers to actually spend with my family, right? So you have to price out your time, get clear on, I don't want you to stay in the hourly mindset for forever, but in order to delegate and figure out when to hire, you have to define how much your time is really worth per hour. So the first thing you want to do is look at all the minutia that is on your plate. And if you look at the entrepreneur year plan has a tool inside of it. Let me flip to it. And it is right here, and it's my business activities. So the first thing you do is you write down all of your business activities. Then you say, am I great at it? Am I average at it? Or am I weak at it? Then the next column is, do I love it? Am I indifferent, or do I hate it? Then you say, do I want more of it, the same, or less? And then based on that, you will have some GLMs. GLMs are great, love it, and I want more of it, right? Those are the things that you keep, right? Those are you put K. The other ones you want to automate or delegate. Everything else that's not a GLM, meaning that you're great at it, you love it, and you want more of it, everything else you want to try to automate and delegate, and that's where you start to create jobs, right? So the way I created my job descriptions for my most recent hires is I did that exact activity, and I realized, whoa, I need to get this stuff off my plate so I can focus on my area of genius and greatness, and then that's what I hired to. And every time I've hired, the company has grown, right? Because now I'm only focused on my area of genius and greatness, and that's where our company makes the most value. And all the other, it's not minutia, because my team are doing valuable work. All the other stuff gets handled. And here's the thing that you think that you hate, that is small to you, and you're like, oh, that makes me so miserable, nobody in the world would want to do this. There's actually somebody out there that loves it. For example, my operations manager, Amparo, there are things that she loves doing that I absolutely hate doing, right? It's like, man, how am I going to hire somebody to do this? She actually loves the very thing that I hate, and that's what makes us a good team and good complement, okay? So the first hire that I had was a VA. On top of that, you don't always have to hire full time, right? You can start off part time. I started with 10 hours, then grew to 20 hours, then grew to 40 hours. There's other contractors that you want to have on deck that do not need to be full time. So like you said, you need an accountant. You also need a lawyer. Right? You also need a lawyer. You probably want somebody, if you're not savvy in Photoshop, and I know you might be trying to figure things out in Canva, you probably want a graphic designer on deck. That graphic designer may also be a web developer. And I'm thinking about your business in particular around t-shirts, right? Because you're designing things, right? This is everybody's gonna start off with a blank black shirt, but how are you actually going to design something that stands out and connects with people? The other thing for you, as you're doing advertising or just telling your story, you probably want a videographer in your Rolodex. For some businesses, you need a banker. If you need financing for your business, banker. That's for a loan, and then you might need connections to investors, and that's for equity. And then for us, a lot of the for my books and things of this nature, you might need an editor. And some of these things you can actually use technologies for. So instead of hiring an actual person for editor, you actually can have Grammarly, right? Then we have a ton of technologies that we use. There are like about 50 technologies that my team uses on a monthly basis. I would say about 20 of them have some sort of monthly subscription from $9 a month all the way to $2.99 a month, but that's because of the scale and the size that we're at, right? So there's a ton of technology that you can use, and I consider those technologies as being part of my team. Like I use Teachable for the Freedom School, right? I consider Teachable being part of my team. If Teachable isn't doing their job, then that's actually affecting my business, right? I consider Infusionsoft and ClickFunnels as part of my team, because if they aren't working for some reason that day, that's actually going to affect my business. One thing we're considering is a social media marketer. Or digital marketer, right? That's another key one. Yeah, these are pretty much the core ones that you need to have in your Rolodex. Again, you do not have to hire full time. These people can be part time, but you want to have them in your Rolodex. When you get to a sizable place, and you figure out where you fit in the business, you may realize that the person that you need is not another version of you, because a lot of people try to duplicate themselves. Oh, if I just had 10 of me. No, you don't want 10 of you, because you would have 10 the same exact problems except 10 times greater, right? So one of the key people that you need in your business is a COO. You see, many of you are front facing. You're the one who started the business, you're front facing, but you need the COO who's the back end. So it's like Jay-Z and Damon Dash. Jay-Z is the front end, Damon Dash is the back end. You think about Biggie and Puff. Biggie was the front end and Puff was the back end, even though Puff would creep in there in the video, more money, more problems, and he tried to be in the front too, right? You need your front end person, and that's typically you, the visionary. Then the first hire is actually a COO. This is the person who handles everything behind the curtains. They don't get much recognition, but without them, you know that things would fall apart. So these are 12, 11 key people that I think you need to actually start a business. There are others depending on the unique nature of your business, but these are the ones that I would start with and make sure you have in your Rolodex, okay? So Trinity, I hope that this blesses you. I'm glad to see that you are open to receiving help, open to hiring. I believe that it will honestly cause your business to expand. I know it can be scary. You think that you're feeding another family, that you are responsible now for another person, and that can be scary at first. But once you see how much it frees you to stay in your zone of greatness and genius, and that's where you know you make your most amount of money, you will see that it pays for itself 10 times over.
I hope this mindset mindsets,
So with that, I want to say
metaphories,
thank you so much for the great question.
If you desire
and I'll
more
catch you in
freedom,
the
go to
next episode of the Daily
getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies. Get four of my best courses. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.